What do you think, ladies and gentlemen, is going on in the minds of William Ruto and his administration after it has been confirmed that Raila Odinga will land into the country, and from the airport he will head straight to Kamkunji? If you are William Ruto, what would be going on in your mind? Because this is coming against a backdrop of heightened political activities that happened while Raila was away. When Raila was away, William Ruto visited Nyanza and he received a resounding reception with a very polite hospitality. And then William Ruto spoke of plans to kill Wafula Chebukati. Then the bombshell itself that Raila Odinga won by a massive 8 million votes in the August polls. So as Raila jets in, his supporters and the leaders are expecting Raila to address them on these three events. Number one, the Nyanza visit is one that sparked a lot of debate, because after the Nyanza received William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, they came back and started backbiting, because they were saying that some people thought that we would not go to Nyanza, but the Luo Nyanza have decided to receive us. In Rigathi Gachagua's own words, he believes that that warm reception that they received is tantamount to the fact that they have rejected Raila and they have received William Ruto and have accepted his legitimacy as the president. That's what Rigathi Gachagua thinks, and Raila is expected to address them on this. Number two is the issue of killing Wafula Chebukati. Raila has maintained over the months that the prefect who presided over election irregularities in Bomas was Wafula Chebukati. And as they retire to go home, Raila Odinga believes that Chebukati, with his quotes-in-quotes accomplices, Boya Molo and Abdi Gulie, are the culprits who should be taken to jail. And he believes that the Cherera team, who disagreed and distanced themselves from Chebukati's results, ni weupe kama pamba. So Raila is expected to address his supporters and the nation concerning these allegations. Then the bombshell itself will form the major part of Kamkunji meeting. You will understand that Kamkunji has got a very significant political history. It is in Kamkunji where those who are fighting for the second liberation, who are fighting the one-party state, used to meet, and Kamkunji is very synonymous with the tear gas. Now, as Raila will be addressing his supporters and the nation concerning these results that came up that he won in the August polls, there are two things. His supporters would want to hear nothing but to be sworn in as the fifth president. And then they want him to march to State House. But there is something that I want to say, because in this channel we have to speak the truth. Raila can be sworn in, and he might even decide to march to State House. But there is one thing that we need to understand. Raila will try as much as he can to guard against subjecting his supporters to police brutality. You and I understand that if Raila decides to go to State House, the police will try to repel them. And in your slightest imagination, you all know what that means. Because it will mean that the police will be using live bullets. They cannot allow anybody to go and eject William Ruto from State House. So with this in mind, Raila might not agree to be sworn in. So what does that leave him with? Number two, the alternative is he can decide to take in a mock swearing in. What is a mock swearing in? You simply pick up the Bible, you hold it, and you say, I, Raila Odinga, do swear by what, to please and soothe the ego of your supporters, so that as they come from Kamkunji, they know that, wow, Raila has been sworn in. But this is one thing that I really want to speak against. I do not want, events that do not offer solutions. I don't expect Raila to be sworn in a mock swearing in and then comes back to sit there as a civilian. Because a mock swearing in will only mean that people are happy, but it does not yield anything. But it is also a solution that can take place. Number 3, if he says that he's not going to be sworn in, because they might try to force him, maybe Biblia and he can do it. If he also declines to take a mock swearing in, then what other alternative does he have? He can give tangible solutions. He can tell his supporters that now, and I expect him to do the following, he might insist that they want the server to be opened so that we know the truth. I know the pro-Ruto supporters will say that this is overtaken by events. Let us move on. But I always speak against this moving on. But those who support Raila will tell Ruto that you open the server so that we are satisfied. I highly doubt whether William Ruto can accept the server to be opened. Why? When they were together with the Uhuru in the Uhuru government, the former Chief Justice had ruled that the server be opened. They dilly-dallied and played some picky-ponky games, and this did not happen because this will expose the malpractices that took place. But I watched and listened to Martha Karua leading the Loomimg Brigade. They insist that the server must be opened, and this is going to be the resolution from Kamkunji. And to how they are going to do it is something that I don't understand. They might go to court to compel the courts to now coerce the IEBC to open the servers. I don't know. Because if the servers are opened, this will leave both parties very satisfied. Let me say this, ladies and gentlemen. If I were in William Ruto's shoes and I know that my hands are clean, I will accept the server to be opened in full glare of the cameras so that everyone will be satisfied after that. Let them have the ICT guys from the government and from the Azimio so that they look at it. And then if Raila was defeated, then the supporters will go home satisfied that Baba alishindwa. But if William Ruto was never legally elected, then we can go for another repeat election. There is no need moving on when we have questions that are unanswered, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think can stop Ruto from accepting the server to be opened? Is he guilty? Because I do not expect to be told that, we want to build our economy, let us forget about the elections. You cannot forget an election when there are people who are still mourning because they believe their victory was stolen from them. The only way to satisfy their ego and to make sure that they go home dry is to open that server. So I expect them to make a resolution. Number 2, the Azimio supporters want Raila Odinga declare secession. That if William Ruto does not want to vacate office, then let us divide the country so that those who want William Ruto to rule them, those who voted for him, the Arsenal nation who voted for him in the August polls, can remain with him. And there's new supporters who voted for Raila Odinga can remain with Raila. As to the legal challenges that are backed with this, I don't know, because I know it has to go through a process for people to go through such a referendum, and I think they have to notify the United Nations. Because the Azimio supporters decide to vote in favor of secession, then the United Nations must recognize it as another nation and add it to the already number of nations that we have. So there are a lot of legal challenges and what must be followed. And you will hear some of international leaders going against this because they would want countries to unite and not to be divided. The last thing is you will hear the supporters saying that William Ruto must vacate office, he must move away to just let Raila rule. Of course, they would really want this, but this cannot happen. So as Raila jets in tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, he is a man under pressure because the supporters expect him to take his victory. Yet there is a lot of pressure and legal challenges that are coming with it. William Ruto was sworn in, and the constitution says that we must have just one president in a country. And William Ruto, with the sword and has taken oath of office, he's now assumed that office. So if Raila swears in, he's going to plunge the country into a constitutional crisis. But many nations thrive after a constitutional crisis. When he insists that I want my victory, the international community will come in. But the international community are supporting William Ruto because he is their project. So we have Raila and William Ruto are parties between a rock and a hard place. We need to wait and see what exactly will happen. But Raila will ensure that by the time the supporters come out from Kamkunji, they are a happy lot. Last but not least, if Raila knows very well that he has been contesting and he is winning 2007, 2013 and 2017, and he doesn't have a plan B, there is no need of taking people to another election if he knows very well that he's going to win and the election and the victory is going to be taken away. You will disagree with me, but this is my thought. The Azimio supporters can only go for another election if Raila gives them an alternative that and an assurity that this time round he is going to take his victory. That is my take.